Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe. This is huge breaking news. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has raided the home of former Intel official for numerous administrations, the Bush administration as well, John Bolton. Interestingly, this individual, Bolton, 20 years after the Iraq invasion, John Bolton says he'd do it all over again. What really wonderful person. The man has never been right. Practically never been right on any foreign policy decision ever. And he's probably one of the more militant or the most militant in Washington. He is a relic, a dinosaur of the Bush administration. He is one of the never-Trumpers, one of the more influential never-Trumpers. And he represents the old Republican Party. This is MSN. You know he represents the old Republican Party when MSNBC is John Bolton. John Bolton isn't done warning voters about the threat Trump poses. So you have a warmonger who liberals now have attached themselves to, and of course he knows everything about Putin, even though the Russians took territory under President Obama. Annexed territory under President Obama, invaded under Biden, didn't do any of those things under Trump, but of course, Trump, that he was part of the Russia hoax. Bolton reacts to hot mic moment. That's the way to Trump's heart about Putin. So everything, he was a loyal foot soldier of the old Republican Party, the never-Trumpers, and the Democratic Party that created a Cold War McCarthy-era hoax. He was one of the people, by the way, that pushed us into the invasion of Iraq. Bolton has often been accused of attempting to pressure the intelligence community to endorse his views. Take it for what it's worth. It's from Wikipedia. But his house is being raided for classified data. Check this out. I think this has to do also with indictments. It's not just the fact that he might have mishandled classified data. It's the perjury trap, or the way to ensure that other people aren't lying, or the way to ensure that they were lying. So he likely, possibly, potentially, just pure speculation, might have held, perhaps illegally, classified data that would be incriminating to others, whether it's Clinton or Comey or anyone else, or Brennan or Clapper. But let's continue here. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. Payback. This is President Trump's James Brown presidency. God bless James Brown. The Big Payback. One of the best songs ever.
Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley. Jonathan, what do you think they have to have ahead of time in order to make this raid something palatable for a judge to sign off on?
Well, most importantly, they need a warrant. So that judge had to look at whether they had a particular list of evidence that they were trying to secure, and probable cause that a crime might have been committed. Now, that might is very important. There are plenty of raids that occur and charges do not occur as a result. But for a high visibility raid of this kind, I would think the administration waited until they had what they felt was a lead pipe cinch of a case for a warrant and a strong case to move forward. We just don't know. This is going to be clearly a warrant seeking documents. And I can tell you, as a criminal defense attorney who's had clients subject to search warrants, documents tend to be particularly burdensome for defendants because they basically hoover up everything in the house that could contain digital or written material. That includes thumb drives and computers, laptops, desktops.
So this potentially implicates, Bolton probably knows information that James Comey, that James Clapper, that John Brennan also know or are privy to, that Hillary Clinton knows. So Bolton, it might be at the intersection of what all these people have been doing for the past 10 years. He was very, very, very involved in intelligence 25 years ago, unfortunately, or 23 years ago. But so for the past 2 decades plus, this man has been at the forefront, or one of the key instigators, or one of the key individuals within the intelligence community. The intelligence community went after, set up, and framed Trump. Trump was an innocent man. He wasn't an operative of the Russians. You'd have to be a complete and utter imbecile to believe that. But millions of very smart people believed it because they wanted to. They couldn't possibly come to terms with the fact that the old Republican Party was a complete and utter failure. The foreign policy is why the old Republican Party doesn't exist. The Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld foreign policy was an unmitigated disaster and catastrophe, did not make the world safer, and hurt the country in so many ways. Half to 2/3 of all the Americans killed and wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan were the victims of IED blasts. Okay? That is the fault of individuals who pushed the same types of things as John Bolton. And so President Trump is the anti-war president. Okay, you could be petulant, and you could be like petulant and childish and say, well, but he launched this missile. It's like, he's an American president, genius. What do you expect? I mean, Trump is not a pacifist. He's an American president. He's the most anti-war president we're going to have. Maybe ever. Maybe it was the most anti-war president that we could possibly have when you look at both political parties. And that's the moral imperative to vote for Trump. That was always the moral imperative to have voted for Trump. Okay? And the very corrupt political system. See, when I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, why was I duped and deceived into thinking that Bernie Sanders would be President Trump? I thought that Bernie Sanders would take on a corrupt system and say, no more endless wars. That's not Bernie Sanders. He doesn't care about that. If Bernie Sanders somehow, some way became president, which is complete impossibility because Democrats cheated him in 2016, and they would cheat him every primary if he ever ran again. He would, if they wanted him to invade a country, he would do so. If they wanted Bernie Sanders to do the same type of thing as Iraq and Afghanistan, he would have done so. He has no political backbone. They cheated him. He said nothing. Trump fought back politically, and they couldn't control President Trump. They tried his life. There was an attempt on his life. He survived that, and he survived every other attempt to ruin and destroy him by individuals who hold the same views as John Bolton. Check this out. Individuals in government.
Phones, all of those things are ordinarily sought that can have any type of digital memory or storage. And you are given a copy of that warrant, and you're ultimately given an inventory of things that are removed. And what follows that is a long process of inspection. Now, in the case of Bolton, there's going to be very sensitive issues there. One is he's clearly a critic of President Trump. And so there's going to be concerns whether this is retaliatory. But in the same fashion, there's going to be material on his computer that he's going to argue is protected speech, maybe even privileged material. So they might have to create these walls that are put up, have separate teams to minimize any intrusion into privileged or protected areas.
Yeah, Jonathan, I remember when Mar-a-Lago was raided and Melania had said that they even went through her closet, they went through her drawers. It can be very intrusive, but I know when you're the FBI and you're looking for any evidence, you have to look everywhere. He's been accused of using classified information in his book that he wrote in 2020. Do you know what was in that book? What classified information he wasn't supposed to share?
Yeah, that's what is intriguing here, because these are long-standing allegations that the book indicated or referenced classified material that he may have acquired when he was in the administration.
And so, like with Trump, although Trump was innocent, what took place is he might have actually committed a crime, which is what they accused Trump of, which he didn't do. And now everyone else is implicated. In this case, there was an effort to conspire against Trump. Hit subscribe. Thank you.